Avengers is now the king. It holds the record for the movie with the highest grossing opening weekend.
The Avengers shattered box office records by taking in $207 million on its opening weekend alone.
The movie has earned more than $1 billion to date.
This is where executives decided they need their own cinematic universe. And now in 2024, we have a universe trying their best to fix everything with money, a monster universe that's delivering dumb action, and a universe trying once again to get fans. Then we have the Sony universe. In preparation for Venom: The Last Dance, I thought it would be a good idea to look at all the movies from Venom to Madam Web and try to figure out the point of this universe. We are 4 movies deep into this universe, and I still don't know what the purpose of this universe is, or what we're building to. This has caused the universe to be a mess to general audience and become a laughingstock to the internet every time they release a new movie.
Matt, guess what? It's Morbid time. Alright.
It's what? It's what?
Mission failed. We'll get them next time.
Let's start at the beginning and see if the internet and I are wrong. Venom has always been a popular Spider-Man villain and recognizable to general audience, so including him in a movie makes sense. The problem is Sony does not know how to implement him well. For example, Spider-Man 3, when Sam Raimi was making the movie, Sony forced him to include Venom in the movie. Sam Raimi did not understand the character and thought the character lacked humanity, which caused the movie to be overstuffed with villains, and fans' biggest complaint that Venom felt out of place in the film. Even with this disappointment, Venom remained a popular character and fans wanted a true version of the character. When Sony released Venom, fans went to support the movie in droves, making it a box office success story. With that success, it must have been a better version of the character. Yes and no. When it comes to the design of the character, it's perfection. Other aspects of the character, not so much. To me, Venom is supposed to be threatening and scary. It's an alien parasite that takes over the host's body and brings out the worst aspects of that person and wants to consume the world. We don't get that with this version.
Jump. Pussy.
In fact, this movie is a goofy buddy comedy movie, where most of the comedy comes from Eddie trying to convince Venom not to eat people. You either accept it and appreciate the movie for what it is, or dislike the entire thing. I've learned to accept it for what it is, but I will always prefer the more villain side of the character. However, I can't hate this movie for not getting that side of the character right, because I love me some trashy, fun, bad movies. And it knows it's that type of movie.
So you will be this armless, legless, faceless thing, won't you? Rolling down the street like a turd in the wind.
Poop funny. Wee!
It's also a double-edged sword. Now that you establish yourself as a wacky, goofy comedy movie, it's hard for me or the general audience to take any part of this movie seriously, which causes everything else to fall flat. For example, the plot. It's 2 outcasts of society who label themselves as losers, coming together to find the meaning in their lives.
On my planet, I am kind of a loser, like you. But here, we could be more.
I don't know how the writers looked at the image of Venom and thought, right there is our loser. It doesn't help that we're never shown why Venom is a loser to the other symbiotes. There's no flashback of him on his planet getting beaten up by the other symbiotes. There's nothing. We are told and not shown. One of the biggest mistakes you can make in a visual medium. Eddie Brock is the complete opposite. We are shown why he is a loser, but the reason why he is a loser is caused by himself. At the beginning of the movie, Eddie Brock had everything. He had the job he loved, and he recently proposed to the girl of his dreams. One day he was told by his boss that they want him to interview a tech billionaire, Carlton Drake. Eddie has suspicions of Carlton of not being a good guy. Fair enough, all billionaires are not good guys. But you already promised your boss that you will stay on script. Instead of keeping your promise, the night before the interview, he had a brain blast and decided to log on to his fiance's computer, who is gathering evidence for a case against Carlton, and decided to ask him a few questions.
You recruit the most vulnerable of us to volunteer for tests that more often than not end up killing people.
I'm aware of these rumors online. There's a lot of fake news out there these days.
What about the legal cases?
Sorry?
Yeah, the actual legal cases, like Sarah Chambers, Bill Walkley, Bob McDonald.
So much
And it just sums it up.
Have a nice day.
This little situation leads to him getting fired from his job and getting his fiancée fired from her job, which leads to her breaking up with him, and now he is all alone with nothing to show for it.
You know, for a smart guy, you really are a dumbass.
By the way, this is how he acts the entire movie. He's an idiot and says dumb stuff all the time.
We brought back some specimens.
Talking about aliens? Like, aliens?
Yes.
You stupid.
Which is enjoyable if you're looking for a dumb 2000 superhero movie, but don't expect anything else. How do these two losers meet? Carlton captures some of the symbiotes and he runs some tests on them to hopefully use them to become the most powerful man in the world. Yep, he's that type of villain. After the test goes wrong, leading to a test subject dying, a scientist lady went to Eddie Brock and decided this is the moment to expose Carlton. Why Eddie? I don't know. He's not even a reporter anymore, and it has nothing of value to help you. Either way, she gives him access to the building and breaks out the test subject who has the Venom symbiote attached to him. Venom jumps to Eddie. With his newfound superpowers, he ends up running away from the guards. These new powers come with some side effects, like being super hungry, so when he visits his ex, who is currently on a date to explain what happened, he does this.
So good and tasty?
Clearly, Eddie is not okay. Luckily for him, his ex-fiancée is dating a doctor. He runs Eddie through a MRI machine to figure out what's wrong with him. However, symbiotes don't like loud sounds, leading to Eddie shaking uncontrollably. After seeing something like that, clearly the doctors know something is wrong, right?
Listen, you're not the first person to freak out in there. I get claustrophobic too.
Sir, you need to return your medical license right now. Eddie goes back to his apartment and gets knocked at his door from some henchmen set by Carlton, which leads to the only good action scene in the entire movie. Venom beating them up and Eddie apologizing the whole time.
I'm so sorry about your friends.
We'll get into why this is the only good action scene later, but it's time to see Venom for the first time in all of its glory. For all the hype in the movie, it's a big letdown. I don't know why they decided to make this the first appearance when they had a better reveal upcoming, but who am I to question the all-powerful Sony, who thought Aunt May's spy movie was a good idea? Let's not think about that. It's exploding drone time. It looks like Eddie's idiot disease has finally affected Carlton, or he's living up to his billionaire potential. While Eddie is trying to escape, he decides to launch exploding drones, which kills innocent civilians left and right. I guess we're no longer trying to hide from the public that you're a corrupt, evil billionaire. Also, you just said to bring back the symbiote alive. How are you going to do that with exploding drones? Don't think, just consume the dumb action chase. The chase comes to an end, and this is where the PG-13 rating problem comes into play. The number one complaint you will hear about this movie is that the violent action is hidden to keep the PG-13 rating.
Pretty distracting how the movie deliberately censors itself to stay PG-13. and you get these weird bloodless head bites, and it just kind of pulls you out of the movie.
Yeah, it's a big problem, leading to any future action in the movie being lacking and a disappointment for Venom fans. Talking about Venom, he wants Eddie to bring him to Carlton's rocket so he can tell the other symbiotes to come to Earth and take it over. A plot point that gets dropped in the next scene. Eddie goes back to deliver evidence that Carlton is evil, even though by now it's very clear to anyone who has eyeballs. While delivering this evidence, Venom decides to climb on top of the building and talk about how beautiful the Earth is.
Your world is not so ugly after all.
After that scene, Venom forgets his entire mission and decides to live on Earth with Eddie. There are no other scenes in the entire movie of him seeing beauty of Earth. In fact, the next scene is him being shot at by the SWAT team. So why is he staying on a planet where everyone else thinks he's a threat except for Eddie? Your guess is as good as mine. If Venom is not the villain in this movie, who is? It's Riot, another more evil symbiote who has been traveling throughout this entire movie to find his host, which is Carlton. Riot wants to take the rocket and bring back the symbiotes to Earth. The movie doesn't try to explain him at all. We know he's evil and wants to destroy Earth. In fact, by the time Carlton is his host, we're already in the third act of the movie. It's time for a big CGI fight where you can't tell what's happening. They must have known this looked bad because they decided to make Eddie and Carlton fight separately. Even though Carlton is outmatched and we have a tech nerd versus Tom Hardy. Our losers win the fight and go back to living in Eddie's shitty apartment. Yeah, that's it. Eddie doesn't get his fiancée back. The townspeople don't even know that Venom saved the Earth. I would say it's an anticlimactic ending, but the stupidity keeps coming. During the credits, we have Eminem singing a song about Venom. I got that Venom. Yeah, kid, you're killing it. To top it all off, we have Woody Harrelson in this ridiculous wig teasing Carnage in the sequel. This is a 2000 bad superhero movie that was lost and found in 2018. We don't get movies like this anymore, and God, I loved every second of it. However, there's a downside for these types of movies. It's impossible to take anything seriously in this movie, making the whole universe feel like a joke. Maybe a sequel can toe the line of being funny and also tell a serious storyline.
I wish I never met you! Sayonara!
Never mind. In fact, they doubled down on the stupidity. Andy Serkis, the director of this movie, looked at the first movie and said, I can make it more dumber. Saying his goal for this movie was, we always wanted this film to feel like a real thrill ride, not hanging around too much with dialogue. I would say he achieved it. However, just like the last movie, that comes with some sacrifices. If you're looking for a movie that takes Venom seriously, I would look someplace else. What makes the movie more stupider? The villain? Hang on, where's the wig?
In the first one, I didn't like that wig. That was pretty, that was a bit amateurish, that wig.
I thought it was shit!
Woody Harrelson thought the wig was ridiculous and wanted to play the character in a more serious direction. He should have talked to the scriptwriters because, my God, these lines do not help him.
Can I help you, sir?
Got any of those internets?
These lines are throughout the whole movie and make Cletus a corny, over-top villain despite the backstory they give him. His backstory in the movie is that he got abused as a child and decided to kill the people who abused him. He enjoyed it and became a psychopath. While being locked up for his killing, he falls in love with Shriek, who has the ability to scream and hurt symbiotes. You would think she plays a big role in the main plot, but she doesn't. In fact, neither does Venom. He sets up the main plot, but this is more of a Carnage movie than a Venom movie. One day, Cletus Cassie asks Eddie to post a line in the newspaper. In exchange, he will give him an exclusive interview where he tells all of his secrets. While talking to Cletus, Venom notices some drawings in his cell. He uses these drawings to figure out where he hid the bodies of his victims, a case that even the police couldn't figure out. And this revives Eddie's reporting career. Pretty smart, right? In fact, Venom figures out this on his own, and Eddie is more of a hindrance.
Oh, I know this one. It's a tree. Idiot.
That's the case for Eddie the whole movie, and they don't really justify what Eddie brings to the table other than being the only good host for Venom. For example, his ass asks him out for dinner. She tells him that she's getting married to that doctor in the last movie, which honestly you don't need to do. You guys were not good for each other.
Do not marry Dan.
Dan makes me feel safe. Oh. And you made me feel like I was on a roller coaster.
Venom even tells him that it's his fault for his current situation.
Yeah, I had dreams and I had a fiance and I had a really successful TV show.
Ah, but you destroyed all of those things by yourself.
Yeah.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
Venom helps him through this difficult situation and revives his career. In exchange, he wants to eat bad guys' brains because chicken brains and chocolate does not satisfy his hunger, which becomes a big argument for them and leads to them eventually breaking up for most of the movie. But Eddie had no problem with him eating bad guy brains in the first movie. It just feels like the writers had no idea what to do with the main characters until the eventual third act fight scene. How do we get to the third act fight scene? Cletus asks Eddie to show up for his execution, which Venom told him not to do because the whole reason Cletus is getting executed is because we found the body of his victims. But Eddie went anyway to ask him a few last questions. This leads to Cletus saying he wishes Eddie dies all alone, which pisses off Venom, and a little scrimmage where Cletus takes a bite of Eddie, giving him the power of Carnage. This was the last straw for Eddie, and leads to him breaking up with Venom.
You are useless. You can get a job down here cleaning toilets.
I'm sorry. I don't know what came over me. Please, let me fix it.
How about it?
So I can push it again.
It's an enjoyable movie sequence because you're basically watching Eddie fight himself, and the action is a big improvement from the original. For example, the prison fight scene where we see Carnage kill a few cops and do a Looney Tune kill move on the warden. It's over top in the best way, and the best they could do with a PG-13 rating. Even though, like most fans, I agree a rated R rating would improve this movie a lot. I feel like they know it too, since they can't give the rated R violence to satisfy comic book fans. This leads them leading into more of the comedy to satisfy the general audience. You even see in the marketing for the third movie.
You broke my foot.
Eddie, I need more money.
It's the best and worst aspects of this film. Like when Cletus breaks Shriek out of jail, we have to watch Carnage kill the doctor in the background instead of front and center, which makes Carnage kills feel weak and weightless. That is not good when you're trying to adapt the most violent symbiote. After he breaks Shriek out of jail, they decide to host a wedding and invite all the people who have done them wrong. Eddie, Venom, and some random cop that shot Shriek back in the day. Another character that could have been cut out of the movie and makes no difference to the plot. The cop decides to take Eddie for questioning because he's always there right before shit hits the fan. Eddie asks his ex to find Venom because he needs his help, which leads to a scene of her complimenting Venom and cucking her fiancé.
Yeah, you're the big sexy hero. You're the coolest, you're the hottest, and you're the bravest.
I am.
No, I'm still standing right here.
No one likes you, Dan.
I feel sorry for this man because he has done nothing wrong in either of these movies, and his reward is hearing his fiancé enjoys making out with Venom.
You gonna kiss me? No.
No. Oh, God, I'm never doing that again. God, well, maybe never. I don't know. Honestly, it's really fun.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine.
Our losers are back together for the final fight, which never sits right with me in a versus movie. The whole marketing for these types of movies is hyping up the fight, but when you see the movie, it tends to be the final part of the movie, and it's usually very short and a disappointment. While I agree it's a better final fight than the last movie, it's nothing too amazing, especially when the villain makes dumb decisions for no reason. Like when Carnage has Eddie and Venom right there where he wants, and he decides he wants to kill his ex first and then kill him because of reasons. Then Shriek tells Carnage that he's going a little bit too far, even though she just killed a cop 5 seconds ago. How is he going too far? You're both murderers, but either way, Carnage decides to kill Shriek, which gives Venom enough time to cover and come up with a plan to kill Carnage. He decides to yeet Shriek off the building. She screams one last time before she dies, which causes Carnage to get separated from Cletus, which allows Venom enough time to eat Carnage and Cletus. The movie wraps up with Venom and Eddie on the beach talking about all the adventures they will go on, leading us to a post-credit scene where Venom is transported to the MCU timeline, just for No Way Home post-credit scene to completely undo that and leave fans disappointed, which you can also see in the box office compared to the first Venom movie. I and some fans are able to turn off our brains and enjoy the dumb roller coaster ride of this movie. That's what I expect for the third movie in this series, a dumb, bad movie with a disappointing final fight and scenes that make the movie enjoyable to laugh at. We are 2 movies into this universe, and they have given me no reason to care about this universe. Like they say, third time's a charm. Maybe the third movie will set up some groundwork and make me care about this universe.
It's Morbius.
Man, this movie took over the internet with memes. In fact, these memes were so powerful that they made Sony think people actually liked the movie and released it again, just for it to flop again. Sometimes I love when the internet comes together. To this day, it's still a mystery that Sony looked at all their well-known Spider-Man villains and gave the green light to Morbius, a character that the general audience never heard of about, then doubled down in casting Jared Leto, an actor that a lot of people don't like for actions behind the camera and actions in front of the camera. It doesn't help that these stories even continue for this movie too, but let's not judge a book by its cover. How is the movie? It's bad, like actually bad. Venom and There Be Carnage at least were entertaining bad. I think Sony knows it too with all the marketing trick they did in the trailers. We have a Tobey Maguire spy reference to get nostalgia fans. We have the Vulture scene to get MCU fans. And finally, we have a Venom joke.
Who the hell are you, man?
I am Venom. I'm just kidding. It's Dr. Michael Morbius at your service.
When the final movie came out, all 3 of these scenes were cut from the movie. They were banking on references to trick fans into seeing the final product. That worked out for them. The only connection to a different universe was the baffling post-credit scene. I'm sure by now you already heard for the millionth times how Vulture appearing in the Morbius universe makes no sense, so I'm not gonna go over that. What I find truly baffling is why the Vulture. The purpose of these scenes is to set up a Sinister Six. Their version of Vulture has no beef with Spider-Man. In fact, at the end of Spider-Man Homecoming, the Vulture actually respects him because Spider-Man saved his life. In fact, what is Morbius's beef? He killed his brother because he started killing innocent people. You're telling me this version of Morbius wants to kill a teenager? I think this is a movie that made me question the whole point of this universe. You would think the purpose of these movies is to establish all these villains together and then team them up to kill Spider-Man in a future movie, but that's not the case. Venom and Morbius only kill bad guys, while Vulture respects Spider-Man. So what are we doing here? I don't know, and I don't think Sony knows either. Notice how I am not going to the movie yet, because there's nothing notable about it. Oh look, here's Milo dancing. You have already seen it millions times before. Congratulations, you just saw the most entertaining scene in the entire movie. The rest of the scenes is watching a movie fail in setting up a brotherly dynamic, failing in setting up a romantic relationship, and failing in setting up a mentor figure. To top it all off, the action scenes are not even good. They have these slow down and speed up action scenes. I don't know why directors keep trying to do this. The only time it was successful is in 2 movies. At least each Venom movie had one notable action scene to talk about. Morbius to me is my least type of bad movie. A forgettable bad movie. We have 2 of those movies just this year. Despite all this, before the box office bomb, Sony was planning 2 more Morbius movies by making Tyrese Gibson sign a 3-feature deal with them. We would have a whole trilogy of forgettable bad movies. Could you imagine the memes we could have gotten? Sadly, it's not to be. Well, these quote-unquote supervillain movies are not working out. Maybe we should try a superhero movie.
Without sound, we wouldn't have been able to hear such classic lines as, "You're gonna need a bigger boat. I'll have what she's having." And he was in the Amazon with my mother when she was researching spiders just before she died.
A line heard around the world by losers like me who crave bad movies. Usually when a movie comes out, despite its quality, the actor promotes the movie in a positive way. But not Dakota Johnson. She did not care from her leaving her talent agency to numerous public appearances.
It's called Madam Web. It is in the Marvel Universe.
I mean, what percent of Marvel movies have you seen?
4%.
4%.
Which is like 15 minutes of one.
But that's supposed to be his fake face likeness.
It looks like him to me.
Name the 3 Spider-Man Tom Holland movies.
Yeah. Spider-Man. Here he comes.
Here he comes, yes.
That's
yeah.
number 1.
Yep.
Spider-Man. And he's back. Like if AI generated your boyfriend's perfect movie. Go the Goblet of Spider-Man.
So why Madam Web? Most of the time she's portrayed as a hero, so she's not going to be part of the Sinister Six that they're setting up. I believe the idea was she was going to be a plot device for the universe, having the powers to pull in any Spider-Man from any universe, like she did in Spider-Man Scattered Dimension. That's why we kept on hearing about deleted scenes of Tom Holland after the movie came out, which makes sense. The biggest complaint of this universe since it began was not having a Spider-Man in your Spider-Man universe. Then they realized there's no way to save this movie and end up cutting it from the final movie. That's not all the things they cut, based on the terrible ADR from our main villain throughout the entire movie.
Agreed to provide security for you because I thought you were close to finding the spider.
Clearly, the original plan for this movie was not working out, and we ended up with this Frankenstein of a movie instead. Usually, for superhero movies, you make your character likable to the general audience. How does Madam Web do that? We start the movie with her mother, where she's looking for a rare spider that cures any disease. Oh look, she found it.
So much power. What are you doing?
A normal reaction after seeing 2 of your co-workers gunned down in front of you. Ezekiel, our main villain, continued the blasting spree and shot Cassidy's mother. This is where spider people come out of nowhere and try to save her. Oh look, they have plenty of those rare spiders too. Probably was not worth sacrificing her life for it. Before she dies, they deliver her baby and say she will grow up with incredible powers. We jump to 2003 where we see her daughter grow up to be a paramedic. She is driving dangerously to get a victim to the hospital and she nearly runs over a child.
Shouldn't you be in school?
Not a big fan of kids. To double this fact down, we have a scene of a little kid giving a gift to her for saving their mom's life.
What am I supposed to do with this?
Just put it in your pocket and then throw it away somewhere else.
Can't even fold it. It's like cardboard.
Sony really wants you to know that she hates kids. This is her reaction after hearing her coworker is having a baby shower.
Come on. We both hate family stuff.
Fuck them kids.
I think we get it, Sony. She hates kids. I'm glad that's the first thing you establish with your main character. The baby shower is hosted by Ben Parker and Penny Parker. When I heard they were going to be in the movie, I was worried because movie execs tend to make characters more important than they actually need to be. Sony tried to do this once before with Amazing Spider-Man 2 by making Peter's father involved in making the spider that turned him into Spider-Man. The whole point of Spider-Man, it was an accident that could happen to anyone. Luckily, he plays little to no role in the plot. In fact, it feels like he's an afterthought to make fans think Spider-Man is going to be in the movie. Or even Ezekiel was originally supposed to stop Spider-Man from being born instead of these Spider-Girls. Spider-Girls that you only see in their suits one time in a dream sequence, and during this scene they show all these incredible powers to kill the villain. You would think the movie would show you how they get their powers? Not at all. In fact, they stay as normal girls the entire movie. You only see how Cassie gets her powers. During her job, she saves a victim from a car falling off a bridge. Before she could escape, the car falls off, where it activates her powers, and she's able to speedrun through the entire movie. She gets That's So Raven powers. The way they show her future seeing powers is inconsistent. Sometimes they play the same shot multiple times, like this subway scene where they show this shot 3 times in a row. Sometimes they play 2 minutes of a movie before showing you it's all a flash forward scene. It's annoying because you don't know if you're watching a flash forward scene or not. If the power rules were consistent, this would not be a problem. I honestly thought we were going to have a flashback scene in the third act where we find out the whole movie was just a vision, like that horrible Prince of Persia movie. One day on her job, she's experiencing these visions where she sees one of her coworkers dying. She does not fully understand her powers, so she's unable to stop them from dying. Due to her seeing her coworker die, she was asked to take a break. While we take a break from her, what is our villain doing? He is using digital de-age technology on his stream to find the Spider-Girls. That's some impressive technology. Why are you using the technology to hunt down some girls? You should sell it to Disney and make millions. They need the help anyway. He uses this technology to track down the subway that has the 3 girls and Cassie. Not only does he have this impressive technology, he has Spider-Man powers, I think, but who knows? He never shoots a web at them in the entire movie. He only wall crawls. No wonder he gets easily defeated. Cassidy sees a vision of the girls dying and easily escapes from the villain by stealing a taxi. Oh, is Cassie coming to like kids now?
What good is it? What good is science?
Okay, enough. Please, don't fight. Enough.
No, I was just telling
Enough! Your voices are like drilling in the center of my skull, and I need to think.
Well, excuse me, princess.
The reason why I consider this a funny bad movie is because we're watching everyone try their best with a weak script, then it goes to Dakota Johnson not giving a shit.
Wait, that bag's already been open. We don't know how long it's been in there. Okay, I hope you're good at, catching squirrels.
Talking about a weak script, let's talk about these Spider-Girls. All 3 are in the same situation. All 3 are outcasts. We have Maddie. Her parents are too busy with work to give a shit about her. Next, we have Julia. Her dad recently married a new wife and is replacing her with a different kid. And finally, we have Anya. Her dad is getting deported. They are not unique in any way and don't stand out from each other. We already talked about how they don't explore their powers, so what do the actors have to work with? Nothing. You would think the script would use the fact that they're all on their own and would find family with each other. That is not the case. Cassie ditches them 2 times in the movie to find answers about our villain, and each time she does, she ends up saving them. It's funny because she doesn't find any important answers like finding out the weakness of the villain. She finds out her mother got killed by Ezekiel and she got spider powers, something that the audience already knows from the beginning of the movie. So how does she defeat him? During one of their escapes, they run into a firework building that has a Pepsi logo on top of it. They decide to light fireworks off to slow him down. Man, these fireworks are incredibly deadly. They light the whole building on fire and take down a helicopter. Good thing our main character has plot armor. Talking about conveniences, she now fully understands how to use her powers, leading our villain to be crushed by a Pepsi logo. I can see how this movie got made. To wrap up this movie, we have to make sure Cassie gets her iconic superhero look. She falls into water and fireworks hit her face. Her fall in the fireworks makes her unable to walk and blind. Then we get one shot of her in a costume and that's about it. No, seriously, this is the last shot of the movie, and based on the box office return, we're not getting a sequel. To me, this is an enjoyable bad movie to watch with its terrible ADR, Dakota Johnson's acting, and a Frankenstein plot. It's not as enjoyable as Venom and Let There Be Carnage due to lack of good action scenes. The action scenes are Dakota Johnson hitting the villain with a car twice and then running away. Even at the end of the movie, when she has full capabilities of her powers, she still gets wrecked by him.
Welcome! Punch!
We have reached the end of our journey through the Sony movies. So what did we learn? All these movies are bad and some are easier to laugh at than others. It's like watching a sitcom. You know there's millions of other better things you could watch, but then comes that one moment that makes it all worthwhile.
You're my main chick, those other girls are previews. Hop in the back, rolling up, then we're free to cruise.
However, you can't build a universe with bad movies, and this whole universe was not planned out. It's amazing to me that we have movies like Everywhere All at Once that was planned out, written, and filmed in just 38 days, winning every award imaginable. Then we have a studio head spending a shit ton of money on IP and not planning a single thing out. So where do we go with this universe? It looks like Kevin is working out with a deal with Sony again, and we're gonna get more Tom Holland movies. Do I think Kevin is gonna cross over this universe with Tom Holland? No. They had their chance and decided not to do it in Spider-Man No Way Home. Sony is a very reactionable movie company. These current movies are not working out with them, and the future villain movies are not either. Right now, people can't wait for Beyond the Spider-Verse, and they want more Spider-Verse related content, which most likely will lead to a live-action movie taking place in a completely new universe, ignoring everything that happened in this universe, which is the smart play. However, I'm going to miss this universe because sometimes I want a movie to laugh at instead of 5 million movies in an ever-going universe. I'm with you, Sony. Let's take one last dance into the stupidity of this universe. Thank you again for watching this entire video. If you want to support me or Wordy, consider checking out our Patreon where you get all these videos early. Either way, thank you for watching and see you next time.